Clara Bow, the original Hollywood it girl, was adored for her charm and vivacity, but fame came with a dark side. At the height of her career in the 1920s, Bow's fanbase was as passionate as it was invasive. Unlike modern celebrities who deal with online trolls, Bow faced intense, real-life scrutiny. Fans would camp outside her home, send her obsessive letters, and even break into her property, hoping to catch a glimpse of the silent film star. Despite her fun-loving image, Bow was fiercely protective of her personal space. She had several run-ins with fans who overstepped boundaries. Once, a group of male admirers followed her to a restaurant and began making inappropriate comments. Instead of ignoring them, Clara snapped, publicly scolding them in a way that left the entire room silent. In another instance, a female fan disguised herself as a maid to get close to her, only to be thrown out when Bow caught on. The media often twisted these encounters, making Bow seem ungrateful or rude. The constant invasions contributed to her eventual withdrawal from Hollywood. She left behind an iconic legacy, but remained a tragic reminder of the price of fame. Marlon Brando was a force of nature both on and off the screen. His brooding presence in films like A Streetcar Named Desire and The Godfather made him an icon, but his attitude toward fame was anything but conventional. Unlike stars who basked in adoration, Brando often resented his own fans, seeing them as invaders of his privacy. His clashes with fans were legendary. He despised autograph seekers, once reportedly telling a persistent fan, "I'm not a product, you don't get a receipt." When a group of admirers surrounded him outside a restaurant, Brando sarcastically asked if they wanted him to perform like a circus animal. But his most infamous encounter came when an overly eager fan grabbed his arm on the street. Brando, never one to be manhandled, yanked his arm away so forcefully that the fan stumbled backward, humiliated. Despite these confrontations, Brando wasn't completely dismissive of admiration. He just hated the obsessive side of fame. He believed actors should be judged for their work, not their personal lives. In many ways, his battles with fans reflected his deeper struggle with Hollywood itself, a place he both dominated and despised. Mae West was the queen of sass, wit, and controversy. Known for her seductive charm and razor-sharp one-liners, she had a loyal fan base, but not all of them understood the boundaries. West was no stranger to bold admirers, who often took her flirtatious screen persona a little too seriously. Unlike other Golden Age stars who played the demure, untouchable celebrity, West enjoyed teasing her fans, until they crossed the line. One of her most infamous fan clashes happened when a man in the audience of her live stage show kept shouting suggestive remarks. Never one to back down, West leaned into the microphone and quipped, "Darlin', if you can't control yourself now, you won't stand a chance later." The audience erupted in laughter, humiliating the heckler. Another time, an overzealous fan tried to kiss her hand at a nightclub, only for West to yank it away and warn, "Honey, I charge extra for that." West enjoyed fan attention, but had zero tolerance for disrespect. She was a woman ahead of her time, fiercely independent and always in control. When fans tried to push their luck, she reminded them that Mae West answered to no one but herself. Joan Crawford was one of Hollywood's most glamorous, yet intimidating figures. With her perfectly arched eyebrows and commanding screen presence, she captivated audiences, but off-screen, she had little patience for overzealous fans. While she maintained an image of elegance and grace, Crawford had a fiery temper when provoked, and those who tested her learned quickly not to cross the line. One infamous incident occurred when a fan got too close at a movie premiere, yanking on Crawford's gown in an attempt to get her attention. Rather than smiling and posing, Joan turned, shot the fan a death glare, and coldly said, "A lady is not to be pulled at like a rag doll." The fan, mortified, quickly backed away. Another time, an admirer sent her a disturbing number of personal letters, detailing his obsession with her. Crawford, never one to feel powerless, sent a signed photo with a message, "Admiration is lovely. Obsession is dangerous. Don't make me choose." The letters stopped. While she appreciated true admiration, Crawford demanded respect. She wasn't just a star, she was a force to be reckoned with. Fans could adore her from afar, but stepping over the line meant facing her wrath. Errol Flynn was Hollywood's ultimate bad boy, dashing, reckless, and always in the middle of trouble. Famous for his roles in The Adventures of Robin Hood and Captain Blood, Flynn lived as wildly off-screen as he did on it. While he had legions of fans who adored his charm, he wasn't always thrilled with their attention, especially when they got too bold. One night at a bar, A drunken fan approached Flynn, slurring praise for his films while aggressively patting him on the back. Flynn, never one for excessive politeness, smirked and said, "If you slap me any harder, mate, I'll start charging for the pleasure." When the man didn't take the hint, Flynn playfully, but firmly, pushed him back, making it clear he wasn't a punching bag. Another time, at a premiere, a female fan grabbed his arm so tightly that it left marks. Flynn, always the flirt but never a pushover, leaned in and whispered, "Darling, I prefer to be tied up on my own terms." Though he enjoyed the perks of fame, Flynn refused to be a puppet for his admirers. He was a man who played by his own rules, on-screen, off-screen, and especially when it came to dealing with fans who went too far. Jean Harlow, Hollywood's original blonde bombshell, had an irresistible mix of beauty, wit, and charm. Fans were mesmerized by her, but some took their admiration to uncomfortable extremes. While Harlow loved her audience, she wasn't afraid to put them in their place when they got too bold. One of her most infamous fan encounters happened at a department store appearance. As she waved to the crowd, a man suddenly lunged forward, trying to touch her hair, obsessed with proving if her platinum locks were real. Harlow, always quick-witted, stepped back with a smirk and said, "Honey, if you want proof, book an appointment at my hairdresser." The crowd laughed, but security swiftly removed the overzealous fan. Another time, a fan sent her a letter every single day for months, detailing his plans to rescue her from Hollywood. Harlow, unimpressed, had her studio intervene before things escalated further. Despite these encounters, Jean remained gracious but firm. She understood that fame came with attention, both good and bad. But if a fan crossed the line, the blonde bombshell was more than capable of handling herself with charm and a sharp tongue. Tallulah Bankhead was as wild off-screen as she was on it. Known for her smoky voice, sharp wit, and rebellious attitude, she had a loyal fan following, but that didn't mean she tolerated nonsense. Unlike other stars who tried to keep things civil, Tallulah had no problem clapping back when fans got out of line. One notorious incident occurred at a party when a drunk admirer grabbed her waist and whispered, "Miss Bankhead, I've dreamed of this moment for years." Without missing a beat, Tallulah exhaled her cigarette smoke in his face and said, "Darling, dream harder, it's still not happening." The room erupted in laughter, and the fan quickly backed off. Another time, at a theater event, a fan rudely interrupted her conversation, demanding an autograph. Tallulah glanced at him, scribbled on a napkin, and handed it over. When the fan looked down, he saw she had written, "Manners first. Autographs second." She loved her fans, but only on her own terms. If you came at her with respect, you'd get charm and charisma. But if you crossed the line, Tallulah would put you in your place faster than you could say, "Darling." Bette Davis wasn't just a Hollywood legend, she was a force of nature. Known for her sharp tongue and fierce independence, she had little patience for fans who forgot their manners. While she appreciated admiration, she didn't believe in indulging pushy behavior, and those who tested her learned that the hard way. One evening at a restaurant, a fan interrupted her dinner, shoving a napkin in her face for an autograph without so much as a greeting. Davis calmly put down her fork, looked the fan dead in the eye, and said, "You may demand things from a waiter, dear, but never from Bette Davis." The stunned fan backed away as Davis resumed her meal. Another time, a young man followed her down the street, repeatedly calling her name. After several blocks, she finally turned around and said, "Do you need something, or are you just hoping to get your cardio in?" The embarrassed fan stammered and left her alone. Davis was a queen of the silver screen, but she refused to be treated like a public property. If you approached her with respect, you'd get class. If you didn't, well, you'd get the legendary Bette Davis glare. Marlene Dietrich was the definition of mystery and elegance. With her smoky voice, androgynous fashion, and hypnotic screen presence, she captivated audiences like few others. But while she appreciated admiration, she had strict boundaries with fans. Cross them, and you'd meet her icy disapproval. One night after a performance, a fan pushed through security, grabbing her arm and pleading for a kiss. Dietrich, ever the composed diva, gently removed his hand and said in her signature low voice, "Darling, desire is beautiful from a distance. Let's keep it that way." The fan was too stunned to argue. Another time, an eager admirer followed her for several blocks, gushing about her beauty. Dietrich finally turned, took off her sunglasses, and coolly said, "Flattery is best served in moderation. You've overseasoned yours." The fan, red-faced, mumbled an apology and walked away. Unlike many stars, Dietrich didn't thrive on public affection. She preferred to be admired like a rare work of art from afar. Fans could worship her, but they had to respect the space she carefully crafted between herself and the world. If they didn't, they'd get a lesson in sophistication, Dietrich style. Humphrey Bogart was Hollywood's ultimate tough guy, cool, sharp-witted, and not one to suffer fools. While he had a loyal following thanks to classics like Casablanca and The Maltese Falcon, he wasn't the kind of star who played nice just for the sake of it. If a fan got too pushy, Bogey had no problem putting them in their place with a dry remark and a cigarette still hanging from his lips. One night at a bar, a drunken fan staggered up to him, slapping him on the back and slurring, "Bogey, say something tough like in the movies." Without missing a beat, Bogart took a slow drag of his cigarette, glanced at the guy, and muttered, "Here's looking at you, now beat it." The fan, both starstruck and humiliated, got the message. Another time, a woman grabbed his arm outside a theater, squealing about how much she adored him. Bogart, always quick with words, smirked and said, "Doll, I play a private detective, not a public attraction." Despite his gruffness, Bogart wasn't unkind, he just believed in boundaries. If fans respected him, he'd be gracious. But if they treated him like a novelty, they'd get the kind of sharp dismissal that only Bogey could deliver. James Cagney was the king of the gangster flick, fast-talking, no-nonsense, and always in control. Off-screen, he was nothing like the violent criminals he played, but he still had little patience for overbearing fans who thought they could treat him like one of his characters. One night, while dining at a restaurant, a fan strutted up to him and loudly said, "Come on, Jimmy, give us one of those gangster lines." Cagney put down his fork, looked up, and coolly responded, "Sure, how about, scram buddy?" The fan awkwardly laughed but got the hint and walked away. Another time, a rowdy admirer grabbed his shoulder on the street and shouted, "You dirty rat," quoting a line Cagney never actually said in a film. Without missing a beat, Cagney turned and said, "I never said that, but I'm about to say goodbye," before walking off. Cagney appreciated his fans, but he wasn't about to be treated like a circus act. If you approached him with respect, he'd gladly chat. But if you treated him like one of his movie tough guys, he'd show you exactly why he was the master of shutting people down. Hedy Lamarr was more than just a Hollywood beauty. She was a brilliant inventor and a fiercely independent woman. While audiences were mesmerized by her striking looks and roles in films like Algiers and Samson and Delilah, some fans saw her only as a glamorous fantasy rather than a real person. And when they overstepped, Lamarr didn't hesitate to set them straight. One evening at a Hollywood gala, a fan approached her, ignoring personal space, and blurted out, "You're the most beautiful woman in the world. How does it feel?" Without missing a beat, Lamarr sipped her champagne and replied, "I wouldn't know. I don't wake up looking at myself." The admirer, caught off guard, could only laugh awkwardly. Another time, a man interrupted her at a cafe, insisting she must have been too pretty to be smart. Lamarr tilted her head, smiled sweetly, and said, "I suppose that's why I invented something you'll never understand." The fan, unaware of her groundbreaking work in wireless technology, walked away confused. Lamarr knew her worth went beyond her looks and refused to be reduced to just a pretty face. She handled obsessive fans with elegance and wit, always reminding them that beauty and brains could go hand in hand. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment. Also consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to get notified of our newest videos. Thanks for watching.